Welcome everybody to our regular English without borders webinar series. So we are very happy to greet all of you and thank you for joining. Today we have another very interesting webinar. So let me just briefly introduce our speakers today. And before we shall get started, I will just kindly remind you, you can join our webinars by using Zoom link, which we'll be sharing on Facebook as well. And you can also see our session live on Facebook. So I'm very happy to present today our speakers as well as the topic for today's webinar. It is called Tips for Sharing Best Strategies for Reading and Cracking Multiple Choice Reading Questions. And we have two speakers today. One of them is Bakhtibegim Mamadrayonova, who is a very experienced teacher trainer, and she has over 18 years of experience in education. Currently, she is working as an English instructor at Khorog State University and also a part-time English instructor at School of Professional and Continuing Education at UCA. And she's also a member of Khorog English Teacher Association. She is an alumna of ETM 2017, and she also has a very extensive experience in participating in a number of English language professional development programs for teachers trainer global online course instructed by Arizona State University and 2020 online professional English network English for media literacy. So welcome Bakhtibegim Mamadrayonova. And also we have another speaker, Shahriyor Mazabshoev. Shahriyor has been has an extensive teaching experience, and she holds Diploma in Linguistics from Khorog State University and Master of Arts in Muslim Cultures from Institute for the Study of Muslim Civilizations, the Aga Khan University International in the UK. Overall, Shahriyor has more than 12 years of experience in the field of education, which includes teaching English languages public and private institutions from primary to master level students, teaching IELTS preparation courses at SPCE UCA, and working with the Institute for Professional Development and coordinating Postgraduate Preparatory Program. He is also actively involved in community service through volunteering, and he participated in workshops organized by GBAO, English Language Teacher Association, and he delivers presentations on various subjects, including reflective writing and critical thinking. So thank you for joining, everybody. Now I'm giving the floor to our speakers. Welcome.
Thank you for the introduction. I hope everyone is feeling well, and I'm very glad to be here and presenting today on some useful tips on multiple choice questions. And me and my colleague, Dr. William, are very excited to share our knowledge with everyone here. Thank you for giving us the opportunity. And Dr. William? Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bakhtibegim, and today we had this great opportunity to be the presenters on EWB. And today our topic is how to crack multiple choice questions. And we will start from Shahriyor's because he will going to start. Okay. Okay. Now here share screen. Okay, Shahriyor. Now, Shahriyor, can you start? Shahriyor.
Shahriyor, we can't hear you. Shahriyor,
And our presentation consists of several parts. And the first part, which I will start with, is asking some basic information about any background knowledge that our participants have regarding multiple choice questions. And when
Shahriyor, can you speak louder? Can you speak a little louder? Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm repeating my words again, and I'm saying like the presentation that we are going to deliver today consists of several parts, and the first thing that I'm going to start with is to elicit some information regarding MCQ questions, multiple choice questions, and then my colleague Bakhtibegim will continue with presentation of some useful tips and strategies and some useful information regarding MCQs. She will be providing some important notes regarding how to prep multiple choice questions in ways and common mistakes that usually both test takers, students, and those who do different types of tests, especially in IELTS, TOEFL, ABT, we quite often use multiple choice questions in this type of test, and Bakhtibegim is going to present very useful approaches and ways how to deal with these type of questions. And then I will conduct some brief exercise, some practical work based on a very short reading, and then we will provide general and conclude the overall presentation. Thank you. So, as I said, it's very important for us to understand your understanding and any knowledge that our participants have regarding MCQs. So we could briefly discuss what are MCQs, what kind of challenges do we face when we have these topics in our reading sessions. Anyone, any ideas regarding this? What do you know about multiple choice questions? Any ideas? How do you usually approach multiple choice questions in your reading sessions or just in English language class?
Yeah, dear participants, you can write your answers in the chat box, so Shahriyor and Bakhtibegim will be able to see them, and we can also prompt them.
Okay. Questions with different answers? Yes. Three to four options. Correct. Any other? What is the most challenging things for teachers, for English language teachers, when they face multiple choice questions. Multiple choice questions, someone dropping MCQ and question mark. Multiple choice questions, any ideas about multiple choice questions? What challenges do you face? How do you deal with multiple choice questions? Just 3 ideas. Maybe Bakhtibegim, you continue with the main part of the presentation, and then if there are any questions or any ideas, then maybe you go out with that in the process.
Okay, thank you, Shahriyor. Yes, there were 2 answers that MCQ, it has 4 options, different kind of questions. Okay, now let's start from introducing what are MCQs. Now, what are MCQs? Multiple choice questions are used to check factual and opinion-based information. Now, factual and opinion-based information, what do they mean? Factual, it is an option of an answer in multiple choice question that it refers to the fact rather than to opinion, and it needs verification. What about opinion-based information? This is a kind of question that mostly relies on belief rather than on fact. And here we have reading models have 2 tasks, that is multiple choice choose single answer and multiple choice choose multiple answer. Okay, here is one example. This is the format of multiple choice question single answer. And here's the question: who is the 46th president of the USA? Can you answer this question? No? Can you look at this question and tell me that it needs only one answer, not multiple answers? Okay. Okay, I need your answer to this question. Yes, you are right. Joe Biden. And you see, it needs only one answer. Now let's look to the multiple options. Look at this question. Example of a question with multiple answer. The question is, what is special colloquial vocabulary? Can you look at the options? And it needs not only one answer, but it needs, okay, I will give you the hint that it needs 3 options. Can you look at this question and find out the answers? There are 3 correct answers to this question. Can you find it out? Okay, what is special colloquial vocabulary? The options are archaisms, slang, professionalisms, poetry words, dialectal words. Please. Okay. Okay, slangs. This is one correct answer. Dialectal words, great. And what is the 3rd one? Okay. Okay, now someone, slangs, dialectal words, okay. Professionalisms, yes. Great, excellent. Here we see that it needs 3 options. The answer to this question: slang, professionalism, and dialectal words. Well done. Okay. Now, and here we see some common mistakes that actually students do while they are doing their reading test. Look at the mistakes. The first one is not reading carefully the instructions. Yes, of course, because of lack of time, students, they do not pay attention to the instruction and quickly go through the reading and the options. And the instructions, it requires differently, and they make mistakes, a lot of mistakes. And here the common mistake: not reading carefully the instruction. It is very important to read the instruction. The next mistake that students usually do this is reading the text first, then moving to the questions. Yes, students, they have this kind of problem. They read, they go through the reading, then they move to the question, but it is not a good thing. Firstly, they need to read the questions, then they can go to the reading and they can easily find the correct answer. The next mistake, it is lingering on the question. What does it mean, lingering? Lingering, it means that they get stuck on one question and it takes a lot of time. They are thinking only on one question rather than going to other questions, and it also takes time. The next one is relying on synonyms. Relying on synonyms, of course, students, they rely that if they find the synonym, it means that they found the correct answer, but it is not correct, because exam makers, they make a lot of traps and they put a lot of synonyms, but do not rely on synonyms. Just carefully go through the questions and yes, carefully look at the synonyms, then you will find out the correct answer. The next mistake, it is changing the right answer. Changing the right answer, yes, students, first they think that this is A, for example, and they go through the other options and they go back and they cross the right answer and choose the wrong one. This is the problem. And the last one is guessing answers. Okay, now the statistic shows that when you guess the answer, there are about 25% of choosing the correct answer. But experts, they say that guessing answer, it is not the right way to choose the best answer. Now, these were the common mistakes that usually students do when they do their reading test and choosing the best answers. Okay, here is the how to crack an MCQ test. Yes, there are some suggestions, but these are the main tips that we should follow. The first one, elimination. Here, elimination, it means that you eliminate the wrong options first. This will narrow down the answers options. There are 3 wrong answers and first right answer. It is often easier to recognize 3 wrong answers than recognizing the single right answer. Now, what does it tell? Of course, when you look at the answers, the first thing that you see that some options, they contradict to the main idea, to the correct answer, and they will stay in their mind. But yes, they do not recognize the right answer. And it is better to eliminate the wrong one and then come to the right answer. This was the elimination. The next one is time management. Yes, this is the most crucial moment of doing the reading test. As we know that the test makers, they put this kind of question like easy one, moderate, and difficult questions. Okay, students, they choose first that the first thing that they can do easily, the easy questions. Yes, first they do the easy one, then they move to moderate, then they move to difficult questions. Now here the tip is you should be clever enough to answer the difficult and time-taking questions at the end. Read the paper completely, prioritize, and then answer the questions. Yes, and it doesn't take a lot of time. You can manage the time using this tip. And here is no guesses. Of course, the best way to answer an MCQ is to know the concept and avoid guesswork as far as possible. Simply guessing answers is a very bad option. Oh, okay. Yes, guesses, sometimes they rely on guesses, but it is better to avoid guesses. Now let's look to general tips. Always read and understand the question first. It is very important. Yes, all the time. Students, they do all the time. We say them that you should read first the instruction, but they do not read it. They just go through the questions, but it is better for them to read the question carefully and they will understand the meaning. What does it require? Try to develop a reading habit where you learn new words every day. Of course, that students should have the background. They should be skilled readers. It is very important. If they are skilled readers, it means that they won't have any problems with reading tests. The next one is the texts are generally from the subjects of humanities, natural sciences, and social science. Now, it is a very good tip. Rather than guessing which kind of text should we read, here we see that the subjects that students usually have, these are the subject of humanities, natural sciences, and social sciences. It is better for them to choose these kind of articles, books, for example, and read mainly about these topics. The next is you must look for keywords in the question and the text as well as the options. Yes, keywords. Keywords are very important. They can underline the keywords and go through the question and find out the same words that they have. I mean, there are places, we can say them. There are places that they have the same meaning. And the next one is pay attention to any nouns, dates, adjectives, activities, or any repeated activity mentioned. It is also very important to know the grammar rules, yes, the main elements of the sentences, nouns, adjectives. They also help very well. The next is do not skip the question under any circumstances. It means that don't go to another question without answering the previous one. It is better to answer all the questions. And here is the last one. Do not spend any more than 1.5 to 2 minutes on answering the questions. Yes, 2 minutes, it is the best time for answering one question, and you will have enough time to do the difficult one. Now, these were the general tips. Let's move. Yes, here we see tips for single answers. The first one, you must read the question first. As we mentioned before, in general tips, always, you see, this is an exclamation sentence that always read the question first. It is very important. Skim the text. Now we know about some skimming and scanning strategies in reading. Skimming, it is a kind of strategy that you get the general gist of the text. Carefully analyze the options. Yes, that options, as we talked about, there is a single answer and also multiple answers. We should go through the options first, then we can find the correct answer. The next one is go with elimination strategy. It helps a lot. Elimination, it means that you first eliminate the contradictory options, but then you will easily find the main answer. The next is finalize on the answer. Do not leave an answer. This is also very important. If you do not choose, if you skip that question, it means that you don't have a high score. And if you do not know the question, if you do not know the option, just, yes, the last thing that you can do in this moment, just guess. And the last one, try to answer the question within 2 minutes. As we talked previously, 2 minutes, this is enough for one question in order to save time. And here we look at the multiple answers, the tips for them. Understand the question, skim the text, look carefully at the options, apply the elimination strategy, and highlight the keywords. Now, here we see that both of them, they have the same tips. If you use for both of them, here we see this tips like skimming, elimination strategy. For both of them, we use these strategies in order to answer the correct answer, in order to choose the correct answer. This is the main points. Now, as we see, we have discussed the main tips and how to crack the multiple choice questions. These are very useful tips. I hope you will choose them for your students. You will use these kind of tips for your students, and they might not have problems with multiple choice questions. Okay, and now Shahriyor will continue practicing multiple choice questions with you.
To everyone again, and let's go into practice. But before going to practice, I would like to get some information regarding the content that my colleague Bakhtibegim has just presented. And out of the entire presentation, I would like you to give me at least 3 important things that we should consider while doing multiple choice questions. 3 important steps that Bakhtibegim has just mentioned. And then we will move to the next slide to continue with the short text. Anyone, any ideas? 3 important things. Yes, exactly. Read the instructions carefully. That's the first thing that we do. Great. And second step after reading the instructions, yes, going to the questions. Okay. Yeah. Great. Yeah, these are really indeed very important aspects of multiple choice questions. And I think in addition to these, highlighting keywords in the question is a very important step. Now let's go and apply these important tips in practice. We have a short text here and 2 type of questions as presented by Bakhtibegim. One is a single answer question, and then the second from the right side, multiple choice question with 2 correct answers. I think I will give you around 5 minutes, quickly applying the tips and strategies that Bakhtibegim has just presented, and then I will get back to you after 5 minutes. If you have any question in the process of doing the activity, please write in the chat. Everything is clear? Everyone knows what to do? Great. Okay, just reminding that on the left side, we have a single answer question, and on the right side, we have multiple answer question. That's where instructions come on the scene, I would say, because the instructions say two things. What two things are true about? Okay, so now let's go through the answers. So for the first question, it's asked us about why was Oxfam first established? The key word in the question is first. And in the text, we see in the first line that now it's active globally in the fight against poverty. So that's why the answer D in the first question, it's not responding to the question correctly, because poverty, it is the current mission of the organization. But in the past, it was initially established to help people suffering in Greece, which is stated in the second sentence. At that time, the people of Greece were suffering serious economic hardship and so on. So the correct answer for the first question is B. For the second one, how did the organization raise funds? And here we have keyword raising funds. And we can see that raise funds is also mentioned in the third sentence. And business and selling goods and investments received from government, these responses do not match the information that is provided in the text. Information in option A, it is not mentioned at all, but we have like things like selling second-hand goods, which gives us an idea of business, but we do not have to assume things. We cannot rely on our knowledge. We have to rely on facts. And the fact in the text is that they help other countries through selling second-hand goods. And second-hand has been rephrased or paraphrased, and it is being used as selling already used materials. And the correct answer for the second question is B. For the third question, we have two options. And here, option A and D responding to the question correctly. The first one, it says it carries out a range of missions since 1990s. Although since 1990s isn't exactly stated in the text, but we can see that it says 1995, which is also kind of a part of that period. And instead of and we have a range of missions, and in the text it says like a wide range of issues. So information A is true, and also information D brings different countries in to work together. Cooperation is stated in the text, and it is paraphrased and a phrase similar in meaning to work together, and then instead of international, they have used different countries. So correct answers are A and D. And finally, the fourth question, again, reading instructions is easy because we have used a destructor here, the word not, because if we do not read, if students do not read the instruction carefully, they might think that the second question also requires two correct answers, but instead the instructions ask us two things that not mentioned, and we have two and not written in capital letters. So what two things are not mentioned in the text? In option A, it says in 1940s, it sent provisions to Greece. And we see again that in 1942, Greece was suffering because of economic problems, and they sent food. And in the option, in the answer, they have provided the synonym or a phrase similar in meaning to that, which is provisions. So A is mentioned. That's why it is not a correct answer. And B, Oxfam aims to ensure quality teaching and learning. We do not have exactly quality teaching and learning, but we can see that it focuses on education. So teaching and learning are in a way close to education. That's why it is mentioned in the text. It can be implied. That's why B is also incorrect answer for this question. It is mentioned in the text. C and D are not mentioned in the text. C is kind of partially, it can be correct, but if we read carefully, we see that there is a word only. But in the text, it says like people, the purpose is to ensure people enjoy basic human rights. Not only human rights, but human rights is one of the aspects that Oxfam is focusing on. That's why C is incorrect. And then D participates in peace building. We cannot rely on our knowledge because if we see that better international cooperation, that doesn't tell us that they are working on peace. Maybe there are different issues that are dealing with. That's why we cannot rely on our background knowledge, but rely on the information in the text. So for the last question, C and D are the correct answers because this information isn't mentioned in the text. So here we are concluding with the activities, and if you have any questions, any further questions. I mean, the feedback for the questions, it was provided during the last activity, and final remarks, any statements, if any questions additional, if you have, before we conclude. Thank you. It was our pleasure to provide this session, and thank you for participating.
Thank you very much, Bakhtibegim and Shahriyor. So I think like lots of our participants have gained useful tips and also some advice from your side how to better crack those questions when they meet in some textbooks. So thank you very much. And dear participants, you are welcome to pass your questions using the chat box, and also using your question in the comment box via Facebook channel as well. So please, and we'll just pass them over to our speakers. So
I think we had a question from Parvina who said, what's the difference between skimming and scanning?
Skimming and scanning.
Skimming and scanning. Is it in the chat box, right?
The question was asked when Bakhtibegim was doing the tips, I think, when she was talking about
Could you
the tips.
please repeat the question?
What's the
once
main
again?
difference between skimming and scanning the text?
Can you explain the question? Difference between skimming and scanning.
Okay. Now, difference between scanning and scheming. Scanning, when you okay, you know the machine, yes, the Xerox. What does it do? When you put the information on a scan, it scans the details, yes, that quickly you scan all the information and you just pay attention to the dates, to the names. This we call scanning. What about scheming? It has also referring to quickly read, yes, quickly read all the text, but taking the general gist of the text. This is the meaning of scheming and scanning. Okay. Any questions?
yes, thank you, Bakhtibegim. So we have another question from Gulnoro. So she's saying, why do you think reading the text before reading the questions is not a good idea?
Questions, reading questions.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
It depends on the situation. We are kind of most of the tips and strategies that we are giving, we want to provide like easy ways for doing reading in tests. So in tests, you have like a specific kind of time and it is limited. And if you go to the text, you read it, the entire text, and then you go to the question, read the question, and based on the question, you will again have to do the reading. It takes a lot of time. And if you waste of time, then you will kind of fail in exam. That's why it is advised that when you are in the test, do not read the entire text first. Just go to the question, find the keywords and the important information that you need, and that's it. But of course, if you're doing some reading for pleasure at home, you have a lot of time since morning till evening, then you can read the text fully, do active reading, highlight keywords, translate them, and do things on your own. But we are mainly giving like tips and strategies when you have a limited time and you want to achieve something like good results in an exam. I hope that is an answer to that question.
Thank you. Yes, you answered the question really well. And we have another question. Is it always good to use multiple question choice for tests while teaching?
In teaching, yes, multiple choice question, as we said, they give students different skills. One, as Bakhtibegim mentioned, two important things is that these questions check students' understanding of whether they got the factual information from the text. And second is that the opinions of the author, which is sometimes getting inference. It depends on one type of test to another. But if you are preparing your students in terms of reading skills, they might need proper understanding of what is inference and what is the author's opinion and what is factual information, which they need in exams like IELTS and TOEFL. So for them, it is very important to provide these type of questions in the classroom, so students have practice and improve those skills that I've already mentioned.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Shahriyor, because I used to rely on my background knowledge when I did the test, especially the multiple choice questions. And then it turned out that there was nothing mentioned about that in the text. And this is how, yeah, I learned. And thank you for also mentioning that. This is a really useful tips for, I think, for teachers and also for students to know. So what, there's another question. What books do you recommend for starting practicing multiple question choice with students? Are there any special books with maybe tips or maybe good reading articles that you would recommend?
Tips and strategies and exercises are in IELTS. So you can start with the lower band and then go.
Okay, now the answer to this question, which books are better to practice multiple choice question? To start with IELTS reading, starting with a low band. They have a lot of practices to do from starting from the beginning, how to do the multiple choice questions correctly. Yes, and you will at the same time, students can check their knowledge and how do they imply the knowledge to correctly answer the MCQs questions. IELTS reading, they are very good readings, and students, yes, and it is available online as well, and also PDF materials they can download they can download it and have a practice.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
hope that this.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you, Bakhtibegim. So I think just your experience as an IELTS teacher is very helpful to many of those who really want to start working with IELTS low band and with IELTS just, sample test. So thank you for sharing your tips. We have another question. How much does it take to get ready for TOEFL exam when one has an upper intermediate level? Is it possible to become prepared in several weeks?
This would become prepared in several weeks. Upper level, upper intermediate level, yes, of course. You have a chance to get ready for TOEFL exam. Now you have upper intermediate level. It means you have upper intermediate level, and it means that you have experience in reading different kind of books because you came to that level. And yes, for several weeks it is enough to get the TOEFL, but you should read intensively about 5-6 hours you should dedicate to preparation for TOEFL test. And it is possible. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Bakhtibegim, and thanks a lot, Shahriyor. I can tell from my own experience that, preparation for TOEFL, it usually takes like, on a daily basis, at least like 2-3 hours of intensive work because you need to learn about the techniques and everything. So yeah, but if you still dedicated to get like, good results very soon, of course, you can just start right away with practicing. All those samples are available online via internet as well. So we have another question from Khurshida. She's asking, what are the odds of selecting the correct answer on a multiple choice test when there are 4 answer choices?
4 answer choices. She means, but only one is correct, right? That's what I presume she means. But yeah, in IELTS, in multiple choice questions, whether they are in TOEFL IBT or they are in IELTS or just in academic general reading, there are usually the 4 types of information. The one which is correct, it's 100%. The information is mentioned in the text. The second thing is that the information, as in false questions, it contradicts the information which is stated in the text. For example, if it says like in the text white, in the question it is black, then it contradicts. That's why this is incorrect answer. The third type of information is partially correct. For example, in the text, there are mentioned two or several items, but in the question, only one of those items is indicated. That's also incorrect answer. And the fourth one is the same as not given. This is the information which is not stated at all. It is in the question, but when you try to find it in the text, nothing is mentioned. Maybe sometimes they put just only one key word, which is also mentioned in the text, but you shouldn't get distracted because they use distractors to distract the reader. So these are four types of different informations that are provided in the questions, in the options in multiple choice questions. And if you study them and practice them, there are words that give you the hint why this information is incorrect. So by practicing, this comes like you see the odds by practicing.
Thank you, Shahriyor. Thanks a lot. Once again, just we are reminding our participants that today we have the session with Bakhtibegim Mamadrayonova and Shahriyor Mazabshoev. They shared their very nice tips on how to work with multiple choice questions. And so thanks again.